Everyone. In my opinion, there's nothing funnier than when a person or a company tries to make a project to connect people and bring them together, but it ultimately fails because said people can't stop themselves from abusing it and using it for jokes. Double points if it's an art project, because if there's one person that should recognize the human's desire to ruin something for a joke, it should be artists. But this art project has to be the best one by far, by the artist Benedictus Gillies with 2 Y's. To be fair, with that kind of name, he was born to make an art piece that the average person could not understand for the life of them. I'm gonna get some coffee real quick.
In fact, the coffee was...
You probably don't know his name, but you definitely know his art project of the mere name, The Portal, was a very basic idea, you know. You have one, I'm pretty sure it's a huge screen set up in New York, and you have another one, across the Atlantic, all the way in Dublin in Ireland. And then you connect them both at the same time, and you have people from 2 different countries wave at each other for the camera, as if they're making contact with some isolated tribe for the first time in history. It's a pretty unique idea for the very generic desire of bringing people together, even though personally for me, there's no better place to find raw human emotion than going Omegle and seeing the most disgusting people you've ever seen in your life. I like that more. But yeah, this portal idea, it sounds cute enough for an average person or someone with the kids to go to it and wave at a person and appreciate the feeling of saying hi to someone in a completely different country when you feel they're right there in front of you. And that was exactly the initial reaction to when it was first unveiled. Well, you had people cheering yeah. Then you had people holding up signs saying hello from New York, and of course vice versa. And of course, yeah, they also did a choreographed dance, the kind of one you would see at a school, with kids forced to do it. And I should probably mention now, this isn't the first time this portal was set up by this artist, because he actually had the first one set up between Lithuania and Poland. Well, it's still there today, even though it's not really used that much because it's been up for 3 years. It's not really that exciting because they're much closer compared to the huge Atlantic Ocean. But even those two, between those 2 countries, they still have a very peaceful existence. It would be funny if people never use it because it's all dark magic and they were scared of it. But I just want to say now, for me personally, the only way I could envision this project being good and working out would be if you set up some bumf village or in the middle of nowhere, where maybe some hiker can see it and wave hello and then see nobody else on the other line. Simply because city people just have too much chaotic energy to not abuse this kind of thing. But the first time they're oh nice, I'm saying hi to someone. Now how can I take advantage of this and make fun of them at the same time? Legitimately, the best example of 2 dogs fighting each other between a gate where that simple barrier makes them as violent and animalistic as possible. And by this point, you definitely know what I'm talking about when you first saw that clip, of someone baiting in Ireland, baiting the New Yorkers by saying rip Pop Smoke, then slowly putting on the phone, getting a new image and putting up the Twin Towers during 9/11. And I know for a fact, people in New York don't really talk about 9/11 that much. I mean, it's still a serious topic, people do make jokes about it, but if there's one thing that would flip that and make them livid, is by having someone else from a different country make fun of them for that. You can't really see who the person was that was holding up the phone, but I would love to imagine if it was some Irish teenager that was oh, that was hilarious. And then you have the very generic joke of someone mooning them, pulling down their pants. I know it sounds very generic, but to be fair, if you went back 200 years ago and you proposed the idea of having a portal between 2 countries, at least a handful of people would want to repeat that same joke right there. So I have to give it a little bit of respect. But that's at least one thing off your bucket list. I mooned someone from across the Atlantic, at least 200 miles away, however long the ocean is. Oh my god, I love this clip as well. Well, I didn't realize, during the day you would have average people, maybe some homeless guy walking by it, but then at night you would only come across drunk people or people on drugs, both in Dublin and New York. And you see someone's first time looking at it where they're so far gone that they don't really understand what's going on, but they're still conscious enough to understand that there are people in front of them. So with this kind of opportunity, you would have a handful of different situations where some of them are cute, some of them are just funny because of how shitty they are, the ones I mentioned before. But overall, it's still something that you find funny and admire until it goes so far and goes to extreme that even the artist himself has to interfere and shut it down. And for this project, it should be shut down for this one event that I'm surprised I didn't think about it, but there's one OnlyFans model in New York that went up to the portal and smiled at it for a bit and it just flashed its tits out of nowhere. And surprise, I can't show in this video. Which, to be fair, if you're arguing that the stuff before that is too extreme, then you have to admit that this would be the one thing that would shut it down. Because it's out in public, and if you let that slide, then everything else, the worst shit ever, would be free game as well as consequence. And that's not even to bring up the pissed off reaction by parents themselves where, Dublin and New York's a pretty big city, it won't be natural that some kid walks by and, sees that kind of stuff right there in the portal. Well, duh, you can't really control it, but that was the intention behind the art himself, Benedictus, whatever his name was. Well, he wanted everyone to have a family-friendly behavior when going up to it. Saying as well, I think everyone should think of a 7-year-old child that's in New York that wants to experience and that wants to connect with Dublin and with people there. Well, you know what? Yeah, fair play. There's a pretty innocent intention, but again, like I said before, if there's any horrible option to put the portal at, it would be like in any major city. And so with that, the boat just turned off, only putting the message, "Portal is asleep, back up soon." And you know what? I don't want to be artsy-fartsy, but that's a pretty dark intention as well. This beautiful portal that was meant to connect people together, turning pitch black out of nowhere, that's pretty grim as well. Make it seem like we've lost connection with everyone in the world. And that OnlyFans model that flashed the portal, she made a video as well, like talking about it. Well, I guess she was proud of it, or offended by the fact like they saw that as too much and they want to shut it down just from that. But yeah, despite the very sad ending to this like beautiful art project that could have turned out very nicely, they are planning on revamping it to make it safer for the public use. And when I first heard that, the only idea that came to my mind is like they have someone with like a sensor bar that's like monitoring it 24/7. Because how do you really prevent something bad from happening, if it's up like every single second and you have like any random person go up to it from the street? If you've ever seen that story from a Japanese guy that lived in a room for like Japanese television and they had like one person monitoring him like every single second and controlling a sensor bar to go over his groin with a joystick, like that's the only solution that can come to my mind at least. However, with that said, I would be lying, a bit of a hypocrite if I said like some of these videos or pictures were not that funny, because they definitely were. And to be fair, this is somewhat better than having people like smile at it, like waving at it for the first week and then past that, nobody really cares. So I guess in that sense, it did bring people together, but more so offensive jokes than anything else. I know it sounds gay, but you have to admit on one side, come on.